Yo, what's up everybody, welcome back into another video here on the SW Bricks and Figs channel. If you're new to the channel, this is my SW Answers series, basically a Q&A that I do every other week here on the SW Bricks and Figs channel, where you guys send in your questions and I answer them. Of course, you know how a Q&A works. Let's get straight into the questions. Thank you so much for all the questions we got last week. I think there were like 97 comments or something on the last video, so you guys smashed it. I only picked a handful of comments, but I tried to do as many as I could, obviously. If I didn't answer your question, it was probably because someone asked a very similar question or I've already answered it in a previous episode. But if you have any questions for the next episode or your question wasn't answered, feel free to leave it down in the comment section for this next episode that I'll get done in a couple of weeks time. Of course, if you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and press the notification bell so you stay up to date on all of my videos when they do go live. I post around 3 to 4 videos per week and also live stream a couple of times a week as well, so you definitely want to come along to those and experience them and find out what they're like. So yeah, you definitely don't want to miss out on that awesome content, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a like on today's video if you do end up enjoying it. But let's get straight into the video and head on to the first question. So Brick Yoda asked a really good question to start us off this week, and he says, who is your least favorite Star Wars character but has a cool minifig? And this is definitely an easy one for me. I thought about it for a minute and this is the first person that popped to mind, and this is Boolio. I genuinely wouldn't know who Boolio is unless he had a cool minifig. He came in the Falcon from a couple of years ago and I think he's a sick minifig, and for some reason he just makes me want to buy that entire Millennium Falcon set. I don't know why he's got such a cool figure, but generally I don't even remember him in the film, so it must be him. He's probably the least cool Star Wars character that has a sick minifig for sure. Nico Bricks asking a pretty detailed question here. He asked what my standard is for minifig quality, for example, sort of like weak legs, cracks and that sort of thing. But I'd probably say I have a pretty high standard. I mean, there's a few old figs in my collection that have cracks in the arms, small dents in the arms, and for me that doesn't really matter too much, especially when it's a fig that I have in high quantity. So for example, if I have a load of old clone troopers that I have a ton of, and there's sort of a couple at the back that have sort of weaker arms or legs, and I'm not really going to be moving them around and stuff, then I don't really mind, as long as it's not really an important fig. I mean, if I have like a really expensive fig that I end up cracking, then that's a really big nightmare for me. With regards to how I keep them and stuff, I keep them as high quality as I can to keep them in as best condition as possible. But if they come to me already pre-cracked and it was the seller already said that there was a slight bit of damage to it, as long as it isn't too noticeable for me, I'm not too fussed. But I do try and keep my figs in as high quality as possible. Interesting one here from Brickinix, and it actually stems from a question I asked the Brick Quiz in a Max Mine episode, and he says, so my question was sort of like having smaller mocks with hyper detail and why he never builds stuff like that, because I was genuinely interested in why he sort of only focuses on really big mocks, and his answer was sort of about like how, especially on YouTube, mocks don't need to be hyper detailed, they just have to be really big, and I definitely agree with this. I think that big mocks do better on YouTube, just period. I think unless you're really doing a sort of speed build or something like that, that's when these smaller mocks can do really well, such as First Order Lego and Star Marks, that sort of thing. But I think, with my opinion, I think they're getting a lot more popular, the smaller mocks. I think completely neglecting them and trying to not work on those as well and just focusing on the big mocks is definitely something you're missing out on. I think there's definitely no reason why a channel can't have big mocks and small mocks. I try and sort of sprinkle in a few small mocks here and there, but they are hard to do and they do take up a lot of time. I personally love smaller mocks as well. I think they have more of a place over on Instagram than they do on YouTube, but I think larger scale mocks are tons of fun to do as well, and they definitely get the clicks on YouTube. So Lego Chimney asking his first ever question on SW Answers, so thank you for asking your question for the first time. If there's any of you who have never asked a question but watch these episodes, make sure to leave a comment or a question down below. But yeah, he says, do I have any vintage Star Wars? He's got a ton of questions in here, so we're going to start with this one. I believe he means just sort of like Lego Star Wars, in which case I have a couple of sets. I talked about it a bit last week. I have a few 1999 sets that are completely destroyed, so that's probably the only vintage stuff I really have. No, I can't really show you because it's all destroyed and in bins somewhere in my room. No idea where it is, but I sort of have like a wing here and a cockpit there. But yeah, and then he says what my favorite Legion is, except 501st, and I would probably have to say the Wolfpack. Then he says what my favorite Commander is, and I'd probably go with Bly or Wolf. Or Rex probably, or Cody. There's a ton of good ones. I mean, it's really hard to pick one. Then he says who my favorite YouTuber is, which is a very interesting question, and previously mentioned the Brick Whiz. He's probably my favorite, big inspiration to me, and I really like the stuff he does over there on his channel. And finally he says, how do I organize my Lego? So you can kind of see behind me, I have like these small storage drawers. I find these are the best for me. I like having them in small quantities. And then as I get more of the same piece, I like to go up to Pick-a-Brick cups or bigger bins and that sort of thing. So that's just how I like to have a sort of progression system. You can see there's these bigger drawers at the bottom, there's smaller drawers, and it just provides a nice way to sort of, as you improve your collection, as you buy more of a certain piece, you can easily step up from one drawer to the next. Elite Clone Dudes asked what my dream Imperial Battlepack would look like. and I would say it probably would be sort of like a couple of those regular stormtroopers in the 2016 style for sure. I think everything has to be in the 2016 style for me. An Imperial officer with dual molded legs, just a regular body. I think that would look awesome. A scout trooper in there as well. I think those scout troopers, especially the newer ones, are amazing. I think they don't come in enough sets, and they are definitely highly demanded. So I put those in there as well. So that'd be the 4 figs, 2 regular stormies in the old style, as well as a scout trooper in the new style, and then an officer as well. Next question is more of a comment from GM Productions, but I thought I'd throw it in there just as a cheeky plug. He says, I definitely want to get a couple of those figure displays in the future, and I definitely think they are so worth it. I've just teamed up with a company called Wicked Bricks, who genuinely are probably the best minifig display cases on the market. So if you're looking for any of that, I'll leave my affiliate link down below. It would really support the channel. But I actually have a full video coming out on this, so it's sort of like a plug for the video and a plug for the affiliate link. So if you want to go check that video out, I'll leave a link up in the top corner when it does come out. Great question from Ethan here. He says, do I prefer a wave of just sort of one show like we saw in the Rogue One waves and that sort of thing, or would I rather have a mixture of waves? And I definitely would say a mixture until a big series or show comes out, and then that big series or show should take up the majority of the wave. I still like to see a couple sets sprinkled in there, but however, such as the Mandalorian, I think they've done this Mandalorian wave really nicely. I think it's a little bit late, but I think this is a really good wave coming up in this summer, where they've got a ton of Mandalorian sets, but they also have a couple of Clone Wars sets sprinkled in there as well for other viewers who don't necessarily want to buy Mandalorian sets, or they just want to buy a couple of other things. I think this is a really good way to do it. However, when there's no films or shows coming out like we've had in the past, I'd love to see a mixture of just a few Clone Wars, a few original trilogy, a few sequels, all just sprinkled in. I think that's the best way for Lego to do it, to capture all markets. So Coconut asks a really interesting one here. He says, do you think the Lego community is unified as a whole, or do you think there's a lot of division within it? I think there is a ton of division in the Lego community. I think personally there's like little pockets and groups of people. I've bounced around between a few of them. I've talked to a few people from different ones. So there's like the older Lego fans over here. There's like some other people over here. There's the Lego City people, Lego Ninjago, Star Wars. But even within those groups is just sort of a bit of division. I think like there's people in the UK who have big YouTube channels like me, make similar content to me that I've never spoken to. I think there's still quite a lot of barriers that need to be pushed down in the Lego community. But let me know what you think, guys. Which is your favorite sort of sub-community of Lego YouTube? Obviously there's different things people are interested in, so that makes sense why there are different communities for different things. But yeah, let me know what you think of that in the comment section down below. Little Hank asked what my favorite arc from the Clone Wars is, and I'd have to go with the new recent Siege of Mandalore arc. I think there's some fantastic other arcs like the Umbara arc, as well as that Hunt for Ahsoka arc, which I'm going to be building very soon in Lego, and a ton more other really good ones, but I probably have to go with that one. I did enjoy some of the other ones like the Fives arc, where he sort of like finds out about the inhibitor chip and Top, and you see all the Doom Squad and that sort of thing, and there's a ton of other good ones, but I would probably go with the Siege of Mandalore. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias, but I love that arc for sure. Darth Arc Trooper talks about whether there's going to be a 330-second battle pack in the future, and I genuinely don't think there is. And I think personally I wouldn't really want a full 330-second battle pack. I don't think it's really needed. I think at this point right now it's not too hard to get 330-second troopers, and I would way rather they put a new clone into a battle pack, such as just a plain white clone or something like that. Personally, there's no need for a 330-second battle pack. It would be cool, and honestly I'm just glad we got them in one set for sure. Aaron's Lego asked about P2 Commander Cody and whether we're ever going to get him, and I think Lego have missed out on 2 amazing opportunities now, obviously with the Grievous Starfighter and the gunship. So I think Lego have got to make it, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if they never did. JG asked what my top 5 Imperial sets are, and I'd have to say there'd be 3 UCS sets in here. I'd probably go with the Star Destroyer, probably the TIE Fighter as well. That's a great set, as well as the UCS Shuttle, Imperial Shuttle. I think that's a fantastic set. Again, you could put the Shuttle Tiberium on that list. It's a fantastic set as well as the newest AT-80. I think is a class Imperial set. I know I've said quite a few there, but also I'd probably throw in the AT-ST from 2016, as well as probably the 2018 TIE Fighter is an amazing set as well. But yeah, I know I gave more than 5 there, but I hope that answers your question. Peter asked what other sets based off Bad Batch and Season 7 of the Clone Wars would you see Lego make? I'd love to see them making some gunships and some ATTs and that sort of thing. I'd love to see a battle pack with 2 more Mandos taking on some of the Death Watch Mandos. I think that would be such a sick one, and they're such expensive figs, so I'd love to see that sort of battle pack. I think that'd be class for army building. I think that'd be amazing. Other than that, we'd have to see where the rest of the Bad Batch show takes us. Obviously, we've only got 1 set from the Bad Batch so far, and I'm sure we'll get more in the future, but there's definitely some cool stuff they could make, and we'll have to see where they go in the future. Maybe some sort of Camino set or something like that. So Signful Hero asked, are the Bomb Squad troopers underrated underrated in my opinion. And do I have any phase 2s? So I actually don't have any phase 2s. I did have 4, I believe, but I sold them all because I'm not really a big fan of the phase 2 CAC helmets, so got rid of those. I do think the Bomb Squad Troopers are slightly underrated. I think they're getting less and less underrated now. I think for a while people would just like throw them aside as one of the worst clone troopers, but I think they are getting less underrated now, but they're definitely still a little bit underrated for sure. So this question comes in from Cyclone Bricks, and this is actually something I've thought about quite a lot. He says, should I buy minifigs that I'm not using that may be useful, I guess, in the future for mocks and stuff like that? I think this is something that I've done a lot of. I've sort of stockpiled minifigs that I maybe would use in the future. Sort of like I bought a couple clone troopers for a certain legion that maybe I'll use them in the future for a mock. Maybe I've got a plan or a little idea in my head that I think maybe I'll get those. But I think for me at the moment, I'm trying to just focus on buying minifigs that I need in mocks, because obviously minifigs are expensive. Like, you can't go around just buying loads of minifigs. I mean, I do at the moment. I do have a bit of a spending problem, but I'm trying to rein it in at the moment. But I'd say firstly focus on the minifigs that you want, that you think are going to be really useful for upcoming mocks and plans like that. And then after that, if you have a bit of spare extra money and you see minifigs on good deals and stuff like that, definitely pick them up, because they're only going to go up in value really. Most minifigs only really skyrocket, especially clone troopers. If you have a certain legion in mind, definitely pick them up whilst you can if you see them on sale or anything like that. It's definitely worth picking them up. And then if you ever need them, you have them, but if not, you can just sell them or keep them. The Lego Porg asked if I'd ever sell decaled figs on eBay. This is something I have done in the past. I do have an eBay store, but I ran into a few problems with it. I did have sort of like a few things getting refunded for no reason. Like, people would get the figs, they'd give me good feedback, and then for some reason eBay would just refund the sale. I think there was a few things wrong with my payment methods and stuff like that, but in the future I definitely will get back into selling on eBay. But yeah guys, that's it for SW Answers number 18. I hope you got your question answered. If you didn't, as always, leave it in the comment section down below. I had to cut out a few questions. I had a few problems with my mic and my camera, so I missed out a couple questions. I do apologise if yours wasn't answered, but make sure to leave it again in the comment section down below. Or if you do come up with another question, make sure to leave that one down there as well. If you do have anything you want to talk about from today's video, anything you want to join in on a discussion or give your opinion on, then make sure to put that in the comments below as well. Of course, as always, you guys know the drill. Smash the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and of course leave a like on the video if you did enjoy today's video. I hope you did. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day as well, and I hope you stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.